Eqstra's core business is the distribution, long-term lease and rental of mobile capital equipment and related services to clients in the construction, mining, industrial and commercial sectors in South Africa and the rest of Africa, the United Kingdom and Ireland. Eqstra listed on the main board of the JSE in May 2008 after unbundling from Imperial Holdings. The company has a market cap of 2.9 billion, a price to earnings ratio of 8.8 and a dividend yield of 4.1%. So Eqstra unbundling from Imperial sold their business, that Bucyrus business, to Barloworld. Your thoughts on Eqstra?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of site visits with these guys, and I have to say I've been very impressed with them. It's only when you actually get out into the fields and so to speak, kick the tires and really see what these guys are up to in terms of their very, very large equipment. They've got some nice franchises there, and I think it's a very, very well-run business. Look, a couple of years ago, it wasn't looking so good. I mean, they had quite a lot of debt problems, but I think Walter Hill and his management team have addressed these very, very well indeed. Look, if you look at the earnings coming out of this, they've largely gone sideways for a year or two. Good company. I think it's quality. I think it's quality management, but I think reflecting the particularly tough environment in there. And as you say, the Bucyrus side now having over time will be moving to Caterpillar, because that was bought out at a global level.
Looking at Eqstra, just recently came out with results. We saw revenue from continuing operations up by 18%. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, look, I think they've done brilliantly, but as Chris said, I think they're correctly priced as well, about 8 or 9p, dividend yield of 4. So it's difficult to see where they're going to get growth going forward. They do rely heavily on contract mining as well. That's a difficult, tough margin industry. If you see commodities prices coming off a bit lower, you're going to see those contract miners struggling, and that's of course going to have an effect on Eqstra. So I think it's priced correctly for where it is now. But I think they've done brilliantly from where they came from. I mean, they were unbundled to clean up the balance sheet actually at Imperial, and I think they've actually surprised many of us.
Indeed, and operations here in South Africa seems to be pretty flat. That was also quite reflective in their results now recently. That's right.
And look, it's a bit of a mixture in there as well. You know, they're into a few other things other than just contract mining. And of course they've got an overseas operation in the UK with materials handling and that, and the Toyota side. So look, they do have a fair degree of diversification in there, which should help them in the longer term. But yeah, I think it's just they are to a very large extent, I think, a victim of the type of tough industry that really is out there. So it's one that I find difficult to get excited about at this point in time, notwithstanding the fact that I think it's a very well-run company.
So then South Africa and the UK, and they've also got that Benga project in Mozambique.
Mozambique, yeah. That's right, which they've been talking about for quite a long time now. Look, as I said, working in the rest of Africa is notoriously difficult. On that site visit I mentioned, they talked about some of the problems they have in places like Zambia, for example, and where they say it's easier to take a barge up the coast and take it to different parts of Africa than it is to physically drive the stuff because of all the bureaucracy that's involved there. So yes, Mozambique I think will work for them again, but it's going to be more of a longer term prospect.
Let's look at the valuations of the company. Let's look at the share price also, like Barloworld, but it seems like Barloworld's doing much better than Eqstra in this environment.
Yeah, it's kind of languishing there. I mean, if you look at across here, not really much has happened in the past couple of years, and it's a pity, to say, because they have been putting a great deal of effort into their investor relations, and I think a lot more people have become much more aware of this company. But I think what we do need to see is a significantly improved growth in earnings over the next year or two.
Should you be getting into Eqstra right now, Gavrat?
No, I'm going to go for not hot. I just think there's better value elsewhere at this stage, and certainly a difficult industry.
All right. Chris, hot or not on Eqstra?
No, not hot, unfortunately.